Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the live stream. It is National Rehabilitation Awareness Week, and we are really excited to be on the live stream talking with some of our clinicians. And this is exciting for me, too, because today we are reaching across the state. Mary Free Bed, if you don't know, provides rehabilitation in all over the state of Michigan, and we are really touching on that today. We've got a clinician from Northern Michigan up in Grayling working at our Mary Free Bed at Munson Healthcare location. And we've got another clinician join us from Saginaw at Mary Free Bed Rehabilitation at Covenant Healthcare. So we've got Hope Pintar. She is a speech language pathologist at Mary Free Bed at Covenant. And we got Seth Lashuay. He is a physical therapist up at Mary Free Bed at Munson Healthcare in Grayling. So thank you both for joining us in this conversation, taking some time away from the patients and just talking about rehabilitation awareness. We got a shout out to Seth. He's sporting his blue right here. It's Spirit Week. We love celebrating rehab, and it's a great chance. So I know they got different themes. And Seth, it was sports, or what was the theme for today?
Today was Support Your State Day. So you could wear your favorite college. You could wear just a Michigan symbol, or if you're from out of state, you support that state. So I'm a Michigan man. So
I was rocking my Mary Free Bed today.
There you go. But
so let's just go. Go ahead.
I wore the shirt last week and he got like 4.5 sacks. So I got to wear it this week. So that way,
good luck.
That's good again this weekend. So
I love it. I love it. So let's go around the circle here and just introduce like what our position is and what it's like working at our location. The cool part is you guys are both outpatient services. So you guys are seeing patients who come in a couple times a week. Hope, let's start with you. Like, what is your role as like a speech language pathologist? And even if you could define that for us too, because many people, I would say speech language pathology is maybe one of the not best marketed fields. Tell me like what you do and some of the patients that you see.
Absolutely. So I primarily call myself a pediatric speech therapist. I primarily work with kids, but I do see my handful of adults as well. So sometimes I'll say I see birth to old. And what we do is I'll always say that we treat from brain to lungs. So we might be working on, memory. We might be working on cognition. So like, can we focus on a task with our attention? Can we, remember the steps of what we need to do in a task? We also work on finding patients' voices. So we work on, articulating words. We might also work on how we formulate sentences with patients to be able to communicate their wants and needs and just talk in general. With kids, they have a lot to say, and not being able to say some of those things can be really frustrating for some of these kids. So working on doing that with them really helps as well.
And so Seth, you are a physical therapist, probably the first thing people think of with rehabilitation. Tell me, your role, and especially working in Grayling, is there certain types of patients that you see, or is it kind of all over the spectrum?
See, and that's why I love this place, because I have no idea what's going to walk through the door. But I also pride myself that I'm willing to see just about anything that comes through the door. So, I mean, as a physical therapist, like you said, that's the first line when you think of rehab, and you mostly just think of these sports injuries or an ACL tear, joint replacements or something like that. But there's just so much more to it. And I don't even scratch the surface with all the things I do. But the biggest thing of a physical therapist is we're here to help kind of restore their function, get them back to their daily life, improve their quality of life, and, work on their goals, and it's pretty awesome what we do. We work on so many different types of people. I mean, like Hope was saying there, I guess I would say I'm the pediatric guy up here as well. So I do all the peds therapy, but we're in Grayling, Michigan. I couldn't stay busy with peds patients all day long. So I treat, again, birth to the 100-year-old people there, so I love it. But I have a lot of hats that I put on there. So the biggest thing is we're trying to just help people out, whatever their goal is. And in our clinic, we have PT, we have OT, we have speech therapists, we have audiology, we have everything somebody in Northern Michigan might need all in one stop. So it's pretty awesome working together with everybody and providing the best care possible. And I could probably talk all day about everything that we see. I'm sure that's going to be a question later on. So I have no problem explaining that. So
I think it's so great. Mary Free Bed it's multidisciplinary. So you guys could in a sense, a patient could come in and spend an hour with a physical therapist, an hour with occupational therapist, and an hour with speech language pathology. What's it like collaborating with the team? Do you talk about the patients afterwards and have follow-ups and say, hey, what kind of progress did they have? What are things you're trying to do that we could do? How, would you guys collaborate between the different disciplines?
I talk with my other disciplines every day. We're so close up here. I mean, we're like a little family. The patients love it. They get involved. We've had them dressing up for us every day. And I mean, I just had a patient today. He got here first thing this morning and went and saw Carrie, our speech therapist, and they worked for an hour. And then they went and saw Rachel or Jerry, one of our occupational therapists. And then they come and finish the day with me. And so they're here all morning long. And it's even, I mean, we'll talk right with the patient. That way we can kind of work together and say, okay, what do we need to get out of this? And and a lot of times there's a little bit of overlap with some of our occupational therapy and our physical therapy. And so I don't want to do the same thing that they did in their last session. So we work on something different, or, there's times where I can grab an occupational therapist or the speech therapist and say, do you want to work together today? And we can kind of do something together. Or I'll ask like the speech therapist, what is it that I can do to help them with their language while they're working with me? Like, how can we kind of double up? Because I don't have the speech therapist background. And so if it's something that I need to also help them out and say, hey, can we work on their posture while they're working with you? Or they can tell me, hey, don't let them talk this way, have them say it that way. Or when you're doing your reps, make them count out loud. So that way it's kind of double dipping each way. And so I'm very grateful to have an awesome team here, and we work really well together. And the patients sometimes almost get too comfortable here, which I have no problem with, but there's a couple of times where I'm like, hey, yeah, I know you're really comfortable and love it here, but maybe we should tone it down a little bit.
Yeah,
but
that's awesome. I mean, it just feels so good. You hear people say that like their therapists, their nurses, their doctors become like their family. We hear that in inpatient, but it's great to hear that kind of feeling comes across in outpatient too. What about you, Hope? What's your collaboration like with the other disciplines? Do you feel that way too, where you are connecting and hearing how they're doing in their different sessions?
I mean, I wouldn't survive without my other disciplines. With my PTs and OTs, they are with, like we said, we have patients seeing all three. And, we work together to figure out what's best with them. I even, like you said, work on co-treats. So I'm with an OT, especially when we're doing feeding or our feeding program. I'm going to have an OT in the room with me, and we're working together to figure out what best works for this kid. Or I work with PT often because my kids are runners. They want to move, they want to groove, and they don't want to sit and practice speech words. So I'm working with PT often to figure out what's best to like keep them still engaged in therapy and being total, like all around working on things that they need to while they're still here and still making it fun. So overall, and we here at the Saginaw outpatient, we have like our main documentation room is just one big long table. So like we're like right next to all of our other disciplines talking about a patient or chatting about it, even over lunch, like those kind of things, to know that we're doing the best for all of our patients here.
That's great. So Hope, with you, we're kind of hitting this but what are some of the like injuries or illnesses that you see that you work on with a lot? What would be what are those ones that really kind of excite you and the help that you can provide for them?
I mean, all of them excite me, to be honest. I work with a lot of autism spectrum disorder. So those ones always excite me because I get to do a lot of play. I get to do sensory. I get to, we get to hang out on the swings and talk about things or play in our gym. I also work with a lot of kids with feeding, and it could be, prematurity. It could be an accident. They had a fall like very young, and they're working on, regaining those skills to eat and communicate. There's also the other ones that we get like CP, those kind of things that also have their range of difficulties as well. It's always unique what comes through our doors and what I can work with every day.
Yeah. What about you, Seth? What are some of the maybe main diagnoses that you see, or the ones that can be the most challenging that you really have to put some thought and effort into figuring out how to help this patient and meet them where they're at?
Absolutely. And the big things that you look at with physical therapy is we're trying to get people standing, walking, and just moving. So a lot of times we work with injuries. So somebody hurts themselves and they need to get back, to normal, get their strength back, get their motion. movement dysfunction. So we're the experts of movement. So we'll watch you. And if we notice that your walking is off, we'll tell you ways that we can correct it and try to kind of get that mobility back that you've lost over time. But the biggest things, we work on joint replacements all the time. So somebody gets their hip replaced, their knee replaced. We're working on that. And kind of some of the stuff that I specialize in personally is I do a lot of the pediatric work. So like Hope talked about, working with autism spectrum disorder, working with Down syndrome. I started my morning off with a 3-month-old baby, and then the next patient was 85 years old. So it's back and forth, but your typical low back pain, your neck pain. I specialize with amputees. So somebody comes in, I teach them to walk with a prosthetic. Grayling's special because we're one of the only clinics kind of in this northern Michigan area that has a pool. So we do aquatic therapy. And
nice.
That's something that's a little special here. And we have some therapists that are so specialized in aquatic therapy and working with all different types of injuries in the pool. I do a lot of the neuro rehab. So I work with stroke patients. I work with spinal cord injuries, TBIs, just kind of getting them back to their normal function and the things that they have to do every day. It's very diverse. Like I said, I can go on and on. Yeah. And I'm kind of just looking at the list here of everything we can offer, and I realize just how extensive this list is, and it makes me pretty proud to be here and work on
that's gotta
everything.
Yeah. That's got to fill your bucket. And that's what's so fun to chat. So it is 2024 National Rehabilitation Awareness Week. We are excited to be chatting with some of our team across the state. We're touching base with the team at Munson Healthcare in Grayling and Covenant Healthcare in Saginaw. We're talking with Seth and Hope. Really quick, guys, I want to hear what got you into rehabilitation. What got you excited to go into this field? Hope, was there any unique story that got you where you are today?
It's going to sound really cliche, but I've always enjoyed helping people. I got my CNA license when I was in high school, and I worked as a CNA in a nursing home for a really long time. And I loved that ability to help people through life. And so I thought that was going to be my ticket, like I'm going to work with adults. I'm going to help them with this. But then I also realized I liked working with kids. So I went to school originally to be a teacher and realized that wasn't my choice either because I liked the medical field. So speech was just where I ended up. And knowing that I could work with kids and adults at any point in my career is why I love this field and why I chose it.
What about you, Seth? What got you into be a physical therapist?
So I'm a northern Michigan guy. This is where I grew up. I hunt, I fish, I golf, I do everything. And when I was in high school, I'm like, what can I do that I can, again, like Hope said, help people out? How can I make a difference? I love my community. I love, being a part of it. I'm a wrestling coach here at the high school. I started a whole high school fishing team in Gaylord High School. I mean, I do anything I can to help out, and so what's a job that I can do to help people and make a difference? And this is what I chose. And I didn't really know what exact profession I wanted to go into. And as cliche as it sounds, with every physical therapist I feel like I talked to, I hurt myself in sports, had to go to physical therapy, said this is the coolest job ever, and I just kept pursuing it. I had shadowed multiple different PTs. I took a class in high school and college. I just kind of immersed myself in the field, and then about 7-8 years later, here I am. So it was, and I haven't looked back yet.
That is awesome. So Hope and Seth, as we get close to start wrapping up this conversation, you can just see the passion in your guys' voices and on your faces. You're smiling, talking about your work. What have been those moments that fill your bucket that, the patient hit some milestone or reached one of their goals? What's a recent success story that you can share with us?
I mean, a big one for me is I actually have 2 kids that found their voice in their own way. I have one that was in a coma and woke up and no words, nothing, barely had any physical movement. And this was, I want to say maybe a year or so ago. And now she's speaking in full sentences. Like, she's an active little girl that can speak. And my other one may not have found it verbally, but she now uses an AAC device and can talk to us very quickly, better than I can navigate the device, and communicate with us that way to tell us what she wants or what she does not want, or anything that she wants to play with. So it's those two that really have stuck out to me these past couple weeks, that feel like they're able to communicate the way that they want to, and it helps them, function in life. And it just makes me so happy to know that I was able to help with that just a little bit.
Oh man, that is so good. So great. Seth, what about you? Any recent success stories that just really fill you?
Oh, I have so many, but I mean, that's why I love this job. PT is the one profession in the healthcare where we follow them from start to finish. It could be months and months of working together. I have patients that I've seen for, since I've started as a brand new grad out here, and just watching them grow is incredible. I mean, just last week I had a patient come in, a little, I think 3-year-old girl, and her parents were so excited. They came in and she walked off the elevator. She's never taken steps before. And after working together, she ditched her little Hemi walker that I got for her, and she walked, and like the look in the parents' eyes was just awesome. And they're like, it would never have happened if I never met you. And I was like, sometimes I don't realize how big of a difference I'm making until those kind of stories. I've had patients in here after having their stroke, and they were told they've never would walk or stand or do anything again. And I got them out there doing laps around this place. And, it's just, they're so grateful. And, I just had a patient after a spinal cord injury, and the doctors didn't think he'd move his legs, and he's walking with a walker. It's so cool, making that difference, because we don't give up on him. We give him the time, and there's so many cool things that we can do. And there's more than just fixing an injury. This is a whole change of life, and they wouldn't be who they are if it wasn't for us. And I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for them. So it's just, I can go on and on with stories. So.
Well, Hope and Seth, it has been so great talking to you. And your leaders were right when they said, hey, you got to talk to these two. This is great. So once again, Hope and Seth, we've been talking for National Rehabilitation Awareness Week. Seth is a physical therapist at Mary Free Bed at Munson Healthcare in Grayling. You can find out more information about his location and his team at munsonhealthcare.org/Mary Free Bed. Hope is a speech language pathologist at Mary Free Bed Rehabilitation at Covenant Healthcare. You can find out more about her team out in Saginaw and on that Bay region area at maryfreebed@covenant.com. So once again, National Rehabilitation Awareness Week, a perfect opportunity to celebrate rehabilitation and educate the public about all the benefits. Thank you so much for watching, and stay well.